Welcome back to Essence of Overlanding. Paul and I have just come back from an incredible journey to Soulful Sri Lanka, that's what we like to call it, because it has made such an impression on our hearts. And I think the best way to say how we feel about it is Sri Lanka is a feeling. It's not the destination as much as how we felt with our interaction with the people and the experiences we shared.
So we made some incredible friends, and really the company that hosted us and did a lot of the organizing on the ground, they were a great team and they had fantastic connections. They really knew the people that we were going to go and see and where we were going around the country. I think what I must point out is that Sri Lanka had a lot of bad press. And of course a lot of people, when we said we were going to do a rally in Sri Lanka, were going, why would you want to go there? I mean, all the problems, all the fuel issues, all the challenges.
The politics.
It was nothing like that. It really wasn't.
And we as South Africans know what that's like, because we've had bad press, and then people come out to South Africa and they come out for a week because maybe they're going to be staying too long because in case something happens. And they come out and they think, well, what the heck was everybody talking about? And that was the injustice, a grave injustice to Sri Lanka, because it is such a beautiful place.
So one of the big challenges we were going to have was fuel, and credit to Authenticities. They had the contacts, they went directly to the ministers, they got the approval for us to run the rallies and get all the fuel we needed for the trip. Now, we were running 12 vehicles. Well, the system that they implemented was very simple. Everyone gets issued with a QR code. If you have a motorbike, you get 4 liters of fuel a week. If you have a car, you get 20 liters of fuel a week. Now, that's not a lot. So what it forced a lot of people to do was to share rides, to use bicycles, to do group schemes of transport. And of course, the knock-on effect for us was the roads were much quieter. So the pleasure we had of driving around Sri Lanka, where people actually made a plan. They understood what they had to do. They weren't complaining about it. They just accepted it and made a plan. And that's what I think we really enjoyed, was the can-do attitude of these people.
It was very much like, I'm going to say it again, it's like Africa. There's a can-do attitude. You can always make a plan, you can always find a solution, and there were curveballs, there were breakdowns on the side of the road, there were left field things that happened, nothing untoward, but they thought on their feet. A plan was always made, there was always a connection that somebody knew somebody to get something done. And just the camaraderie, the friendship, the teamwork, it wasn't work for anybody. In fact, I think it's one of the rallies where we didn't really feel like we were working. We were all having so much fun doing what we love.
That's good.
That we were only exhausted because it was, as rallies are, relentless 24/7 for over 2 weeks. And they'd never done a rally like that in the country ever. It was the first time ever.
First classic car rally ever to be hosted.
But the fun, the joy, the friendship, the connections was, I think, what made it so soulful for us.
Bruno of Destination Rallies puts these amazing events together. We continuously plan them through the years, and it gives us that confidence to go and explore a country where we can really get to see probably places most people wouldn't go and see. When you've got old 1930s vehicles, 1940s, 1950s, some of them have never been seen by people driving around, let alone a car of that age. So the curiosity, the smiles on the faces, the interaction as people drove was just heartwarming. And I think without doubt, the guys in open-top cars definitely got an amazing experience, because I always say, as we both do, you connect with people when you travel, and it's probably one of the big reasons to go and travel overland. Not to get in your car, close the windows, put the aircon on and drive with tinted windows from campsite to campsite. No, not at all. for us, and what I really, and we both believe that you go to connect with you and you go to connect with the people, and you leave the distractions behind. And I think, very much on a rally like this, it's an adventure drive. It's not fast rallying. It takes a lot of time and energy to plan a route, to recce a route, check and see where people are going to stay, what's available on the ground.
And unique places.
Yeah.
So, for example, we went from the coast, which is warm, sticky, humid, hot, right up into the tea plantations, where it is misty, rainy, really cold. And we stayed in an old, restored tea factory. Can you imagine an old tea factory?
They took this old tea factory and they've kept like the early generator, although it's not running anymore. It still turns using an electric motor to show you how this worked. And that became the feature. And then they've built rooms around it. And it was just unique to see and experience what it is like to be in the middle of a tea plantation and see the people and taste the teas and just walking in amongst that. And the tea factory is phenomenal.
Driving through Sri Lanka is quite varied. And there are, as in any country, good roads and not so good roads.
Yeah.
But there was nothing life-threatening. There was nothing dangerous. There was nothing that we couldn't navigate through. But the overriding sense, no matter where we traveled, was the sense of peace, a sense of calm.
Yeah, it's gentle. It was on your senses.
And even though we were on the move every day, as we are, the pace felt gentle. It didn't feel like this, like we did when we went through India, Bhutan, and although Bhutan was almost like life stopped, it was such a contrast. And then Bangladesh was like on steroids. So having come from that and then going to Sri Lanka, it was like coming from a turbulent ocean into the calm sea.
And both enjoyable. I mean, I would never,
Exactly.
People say, well, would you not go back to India? No, India's fantastic. I mean, those countries are really exciting and it's vast to go and explore. But I think, when you have a different experience, you shouldn't really compare between. You really try and identify what's different.
Yeah.
It's always a privilege to go and travel a country. It's not a right. You don't take your expectations, your needs, your wants to a country. You go there and you demand nothing, but you accept what you're given and you go and experience. Take your photos, leave your footprints, and go and experience something that sits in, you take it back in your heart and on your camera card.
Yeah, let's go with curiosity, not expectation, I think would be the thing.
Very good point. And I think I've seen that often where people will arrive in a country and something is not right in an establishment that they booked into. And they go, well, we've paid a lot of money to be here, we expect this. But actually, like in certain circumstances, maybe the staff are still being trained up. So ask questions, and then sometimes you get an answer where, sorry, it's not up to scratch, but we're just training staff. We lost a lot of our staff during COVID, and the knock-on effect with not having tourists means we haven't been able to have the funds to do everything we used to. So I think, having some sort
Understanding.
Understanding is important. And I think, when you're going on these type of trips or any expedition, the biggest thing you've got to manage is your energy. I mean, we don't talk about that lightly in a sense. It's draining. It takes time. It eats up your energy. You become, dehydrated. You're not eating properly. You may be drinking a bit much. You're not sleeping as much. All that has a role to play. And managing that through any trip is really important. So I think, as Joe said, we did have a lot of fun on this trip. And it's nice to come back and share some of those experiences and some of the places. We would definitely encourage people to go and view a country from a different light, go and connect with the people, have some fun driving around those small roads, and just, enjoy it.
So we've got a couple of trips coming up this year, but the next rally is New Zealand, 2024. And then our beloved Hector, there's another story behind that. You'll see on the map is Southern Africa, which is April, May next year, and this is all with Destination Rally. So if anybody's interested in taking an old classic car and traveling to the most extraordinary parts of the world in the best organized rallies ever, go on to destinationrally.com and make some inquiries and maybe even make a booking. And you'll find us there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on our journey, sharing our films and following us. And if you would like to see more, please click on the link below and we'd love you to contribute through Patreon.